Hello, hello, and welcome to an evening of wrestling chat. It is I, Ashley, of course, from the Kagash podcast. If you listened to me this morning, I said I was going to do a live stream, so here we are. I actually followed up with that, and we are live streaming. And I have a special guest, special fan here with me. You know him, you've seen him before, Sean. And I was actually going to ask you before in our production meeting, right? Your last name, because I've heard it both ways now. I've called you Sean Plichta, and then now I've recently heard Sean Plichta. So
Yes.
right off
No.
the bat, set the
Yes.
record straight, man, because I meant to do this prior. So set the record straight.
Yeah, I got to get with Zach. Poor guy. I got to get with him. But no, it's actually the first one. When you said it the first time, you were right on. That's what
Plichta,
exactly what
right?
it is. Sean Plichta. Yep, that's it.
Yeah,
That's
that's what
it.
I thought. And then I heard Plichta, and I was like, oh shit, man, have I been saying it wrong? And I was like, no, because
No.
I feel like I've heard you say your name, but then
Yes.
then like just trying to think back to like Wade shows like Sean from Tennessee. So I'm like, damn, like, and then it's just like one of those things where it's like you don't know the truth anymore. So I had to go straight to the source. So thanks, man. Well, we can just end it now because that's the most important thing. But no, man, I appreciate you being here today. Tonight we are going to talk pretty much primarily about AEW. I do want to let you promote anything if you want to promote anything, but get anything off your chest if you would like regarding WWE as well. Like I said, tonight I really want to speak on Revolution and Dynamite and just kind of tie all that
Mhm.
together and just take a look at what's going into Dynasty. Because there are some pros, but some definite cons as well. But yeah, man, I will turn it to you. But what up, Maddie? I see you in here already, man. What up, what up? But just to get this out of the way, too, thank you, anyone and everyone who pops in during the show. I appreciate you. Or if you watch a replay, I appreciate that as well. We have hit some milestones here, and it's pretty cool. So I just appreciate everyone for being here. So all that mumbo jumbo out of the way. Go ahead, Sean.
Well, first I'll say, and I told you, I'm so proud of what you've been able to do, like just getting going here and being able to get monetized. I know that's huge with YouTube, and so for you to be able to have that moment is really cool. I'm thankful that I'm able to be just somewhat of a part of that. So that's so cool, and I'll always be there to help you however I can or do whatever I need to do to put the word out there that you're up there. You're one of the best. You are one of the best. I always
I don't know
enjoy it.
about that.
But my Twitter is my whole name, SEANPLICHTA. I don't get on there as much as I'd like to. I'd like to get on there more, but life happens. And um, but
Facts.
as far as WWE, I mean, you talked about it this morning. If you were on the Brass Ring Media side of things, One True Sport, I mean, we talked about WWE. I mean, like I said, I had my thought on the Gunther Axiom. I didn't really like the way they handled that whole thing. It was fun. The match was fun. Gunther should not have taken that much from Axiom, in my opinion. Definitely should not be kicking out of power bombs. That was just not good, in my opinion. But I thought the rest of the show was fine. It was just a good setting. The fans there were great. And WWE, I just think, is in a good spot right now. They're building to Mania. I'm definitely curious what some of the matches will be that we don't know about, even though we have an idea of what some of them will be. But no, it was a fun show. But no, I'm ready to talk some AEW. I talk WWE a lot. It's fun to get to talk AEW, in a different setting. So glad to be on with you. Thanks for having me on.
No, man, I appreciate you. I'm happy our schedules aligned. It's rare where I have like a Saturday off. And they gave me, it was the craziest thing because with my full time I do, but I have like a part time that I do in the evening,
Mhm.
and they have like this weird system app thing where if you request 1 or 2 days off during the week, it'll give you the entire week off unless they go in and
Wow.
manually fix it.
Mm.
So it gave me the entire week off. So I was just like,
Okay.
whatever. Like, all right, shit. Like, I thought about asking or saying something, and I was like, nah, fuck it. Like, who am I to tell them how to do their job, right?
Right. Right.
So here we are, man. But it worked out for the best because we get to sit down and chat for a while. So I'm excited because a lot of people were very pro Dynamite this week. Well, I don't want to say a lot, but some people, especially like in the little community we listen to a lot, they were fans of Dynamite, and I was sitting there thinking like, damn, like, am I just like Debbie Downer over here, or like negative Nancy, like whoever you want to call me, like whatever phrase you want to go out there. I'm just
Right. Yeah.
like, because I don't remember being in a bad mood, like like, and because when you sit there and you hear like a lot of positives. Like, all right, like at least for me, I try to be like, all right, like let me rewatch it. So I actually went back and I rewatched it a little bit today. I it's it's funny because going through the show a second time, I was watching it and I was like, halfway through the show again, I was like, "Damn, like what the hell is the main event, man? Like what is the main event?" And forgetting it was Orange Cassidy and Hechicero. I just
Hmm.
still can't believe, like, no offense, and to be fair, and then I'll throw it over to you. Just kind of like overall thoughts on Dynamite. I guess we're kind of going a little out of order, and then Revolution as well, and then we'll kind of go back into a solid flow. But just because Dynamite's fresh in my mind, but I just I am one of those who I was never an Orange Cassidy hater. I was just like, okay, like he's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't just really dislike him. I wasn't like over the moon about him. I was just like, all right, cool. Like he's he's a certain wrestling fans like little niche, right? Like everyone has their thing and
Yeah.
their guilty pleasure, right? Like same thing for, in my opinion, Timeless Tony Storm. Like a lot of people, I'm not gonna say a lot, but some people just despise the character, don't think she should be champion. I don't know if that was you, man. I don't know if that was you, if she should be champion or not. But I was always like, I was in that boat, man. I think I dig it, but I can see why people would not think she should be champion as well, because you, like a Chelsea Green, for instance, like you want a champion to be serious, you want them to take their role seriously. So that was my only hesitation with Orange Cassidy, but then honestly and crazy enough, like seeing him interact and go through that feud with Chris Jericho back in the day and interacting with Kenny Omega, I think at one point, I'm pretty sure it was Omega at one point. But there was just some matches, and I forget I think it was maybe even the pandemic time frame, but there's a
Hmm.
certain stretch of matches where he just really, I don't want to say impressed me, but I was just really shown who he really is as a wrestler in the ring too. And I was like, damn, like this guy can really go, man. And
Yeah.
it just kind of grew on me, and seeing how AEW really did need and does need characters, right? Like in my opinion, like say what you want
Hmm.
about this, man, but there is a thing to be said for needing characters and just needing something sometimes off the wall just for your average person to grasp onto. And I think that that's what Orange Cassidy is, and especially for kids, man. It's super cool to see Lucas dress
Yeah.
up. I mean, it's cool to see him interact with him. So Orange Cassidy has won me over. I still don't think he should be like a world champion or anything like that. But yeah, man. I don't know, like just having him in the main event though, like, to kind of get all that out there, it didn't sit well with me this week. Like I don't know. I just, and next week we're gonna have him facing off against Speedball Mike Bailey, which he had his they had their debut on Dynamite this week, so that was cool. But yeah, man, we can kind of go from there, and then we'll backtrack a little bit and kind of go in a little bit more of an order.
Yeah. So I guess with Cassidy, I mean, I'm with you. I've definitely liked overall what he's done in AEW. I didn't like the gimmick at all at first because I didn't see him on the independent scene. So when he first came in AEW, I was just like, this gimmick is just stupid. Like they're doing stuff that they said they wouldn't do, and I'm not a fan of what they're
Yeah,
doing right now. Like, they're being WWE like, and that's not what I want them to be. I want them to be their own, have their own identity. And so, and it kind of was, I guess, but just not the way I was wanting. So then he's had a lot of great matches. He's just had a lot of main events on Dynamite in the last month. He and here's my thing. He came back, or he was gone for 6 weeks, and he just came back out of nowhere. They didn't make it a big deal that he came back. They were just like, "Oh, Orange Cassidy's back, and he's gonna
yeah,
wrestle Roderick
yeah.
Strong in a main event of Dynamite for this stupid to see." When we all knew that Omega Takeshita was the match, why do we have to get in the way of that? Like, just
Oh, that
build to the
shit.
match.
Oh, that irritated me so much, man. The main I'm sorry to cut you off, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm
No,
just gonna
go
say I
for it.
apologize in advance because
It's all
some of
right.
this just really eats at me, man. And this one, you just struck a nerve, man, already. Because I just remember sitting there thinking, like, okay, like Omega's calling. First of all, it was when Omega and Osprey won their tag match at
Yep.
Grand Slam Australia. I'm like, okay, cool, like they won. Why are they still so angry? Like I don't know. Like you should be happy you won, but they're still so angry, like challenging them to singles matches. Okay, fine. Like whatever. You want to handle your business individually now? Cool. Then what was the point in the tag match? But whatever. Like fine. But so Omega calls out Takeshita for the international championship, and then all of a sudden there's a little semi-series. Like what? Like that defeats the whole purpose. So like you mean to tell me if
Right.
Roderick Strong were to have won the whole thing, it was going to end up being Strong versus Omega, which completely defeated the purpose of Omega calling out Takeshita to begin with. So I just like shit like that. Just like like I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, man, but
Right. Right.
it just stuff like that. I'm just like, why? Like you're just doing too much. Like I don't know. Or just have like change up Omega what Omega's saying. Like if I can get through the series or whatever. Like it was just
Yeah.
dumb, man. It was just dumb. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and so that messed that up already. So you already could be building to a really fun match, which it was at Revolution, which we'll talk about. But they do the same thing now. Omega gets the title, which it just him with an international title just is like. And for me, we'll talk about here later. I hope there's things they're going to do here in the future, which would be great. But with Omega's champion, even the promo on Dynamite was just kind of like, I mean, he was fine. It just wasn't anything spectacular. I was like, this is not the Kenny Omega I want to see. This is kind of just a boring Kenny Omega. It's just like, yeah, I'm gonna wrestle the best, even though you're wrestling again. Then Tony Khan, what does he do? I'm gonna do an international title eliminator tournament where I'm gonna have all these random matches where you know who's gonna win almost every match. It's not a loaded field. Hechicero, I'm sorry, he's a talented worker, but he's never going to win. He never wins on television. Shibata, who he was probably really good in Japan. I'm not saying he wasn't. I just don't care for him in AEW. I don't care about anything he's doing in AEW. And so you have that against Ricochet, which is, Ricochet, again, we'll talk about him. He's doing a great job. But then you have Mike Bailey, who I've heard a lot of good stuff about Speedball. He's good in the ring, whatever. I just thought all he did was kick in that entire match. I didn't see anything else other than just him kicking the dude. I was like, I mean, that's cool, but I see kicks all the time in everything. I don't need to see a bunch of kicks. Oh, like I don't. That's not. I mean, I know he's got the karate background. I mean, and that's cool. But so that was just okay for me. The Beast Mortos. How many times has he won on TV? Zero. So you knew that was going to happen. And then so I just to build to this Omega match at Dynasty just feels kind of like it's going to be okay. I'm assuming it's going to be him and Ricochet, which will be a great match. But there's no really build to it other than they're going to have a tournament to see who wrestles them. And that's not how I want to build to matches. I want to have a storyline build to matches where I can invest.
Oh man, my guy Sean got so worked up he done eliminated himself from this tournament. Oh dear. Well, I'll pick up from where he left off, and I'll just kind of fill in. I don't want to speak for him, but as you can see on the screen right now, the official tournament for the Eliminator bracket. Unless it's me, let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm sitting here blaming Sean. It could be me, man. Let me know if you guys can hear me and if you can see me still as well. And if you guys can hear me, just let me know in the chat. Or if not, we will just restart the stream or do what we got to do. Oh. I think you just popped back in. Okay, Fernando, you hear me? Okay, you can hear me and see. Oh, I think Sean's back. Oh, wow, you just popped. Look at you. Oh, wait. Hide and go seek. Well, it's like that Toy Story, right? What was that kid's name? When you see his view, like when we're looking up as the toy, you just see the kid pointing down. That was Sean right there. Yeah, Fernando. Dynamite broke him. He has been eliminated. Oh, hold on. I gotta get you back in, man. Hold on. I gotta kick out your replicas.
Can you hear me now?
Good.
Okay, sorry about that.
You're good,
Sorry
man.
guys. Sorry, my dad was calling me. I think it messed up the volume, so I don't know what happened there. I apologize for that. You
Come
know how
on,
that is.
Dad.
Your parents call you when they. It's like, why are you calling me at the worst possible moment that you
Mm-hmm.
possibly could? Sorry.
It's like,
So I didn't hear what you were saying. So go ahead. Whatever you were
oh
saying.
no, I was
Whatever
just
you were
talking
saying.
shit about you. That's all. I mean, I gotta stop now, so I'll
That's
just
fine. No,
resume.
that's
Just
good.
don't
That's good.
listen. Yeah. 14-minute marker. Don't listen to that area. No. Um no, it's like dial-up days, right? Remember when you were like on the internet and someone would call in and you get kicked off? That was my life, man. Oh, that was so annoying because it'd always be my
Oh man.
aunt. And it's like, damn it, like stop calling me. Like, because then you're just like, oh, it was just if if you weren't born back then and you have to go through that, I'm happy for you guys. But no, you can continue on. All I was about to do was talk about the tournament.
No,
bracket,
go
but
ahead. No,
you're
go
back.
ahead. No, go ahead. Talk about it. No, talk about it.
No. So pretty much all I was gonna say is I was just gonna go through it here. What I was saying is it's on the screen here now for everyone if you're watching on YouTube, but if you're listening on audio, we have already completed the first portion of the bracket. We have Orange Cassidy winning this week, of course, against Hechicero in the main event, and then Speedball Mike Bailey. So I do think though, for all the shit that I was talking about Orange Cassidy, and I have talked about him, like I said, he in ring wise, like I've been impressed with him. And to be fair, like I haven't really talked that much shit about him within the past year or so. But like you said too, like before AEW, I had never heard of him. Or maybe I'd seen like a picture of him or something like on Twitter or something random, but I never
Yeah.
really I had never seen a match, definitely, or knew much about him to begin with. So that was my him and being in AEW was my exposure to him. So in ring
Mm.
wise though, he can go, and I'm really looking forward to this match with Speedball. It cracks me up. You said all you saw was kicks or whatever like, in the match. Like it's funny, but
That's all I did.
it's funny. But yeah, no, I think that's gonna be a good match though. But yeah, like you said, this is I think. Well, I was gonna say it can be pretty predictable, but who do you see kind of early prediction here taking the whole thing? Do you think we're gonna end up getting Ricochet and Omega? Is it gonna be kind of like a wild card, Mike Bailey winning the tournament to face off against Omega? Who do you think is gonna take the tournament?
I mean, honestly, I think it has to be Ricochet at this point. I just think Ricochet's on a really good run as a heel. He's impressing me as a heel. I didn't expect it. I didn't. It came out of nowhere for me.
Mm-hmm.
I we all said, and we were all in the same step. He's just gonna be in the. They do not need Danhausen in this tournament. Oh my
My God,
gosh.
Maddie. Oh, I fucking
Oh
love Maddie.
man,
What up,
no.
bro? What up? What up? Can you
But
imagine? Can you imagine if
oh,
Danhausen was the wild card though? That'd be great.
I could see it. I'm glad he didn't do something weird like that, but I could see it. It wouldn't have surprised me, I guess. But no, I think Ricochet is doing a good job as a heel. I think him against Shibato again will be a fun match. I just Ricochet should win. Briscoe and because again, Mark Briscoe, it's like I like him as a he's cool. He's and obviously when Jay passed, it was so tough and it's so sad, and I feel for him, and I want him to do well. He's just too his character is he has good matches. His character is just so over the top for me personally. It just whatever they called it conglomeration. I'm like I'm just not into this. I'm just not into it, and so he's been okay. Like he shouldn't have beat Mark or he shouldn't have beat Kyle Fletcher. That's for sure. But
Mm-mm.
him against Mark
Nah.
Davis, like Mark Davis, I just don't care about. I mean, they've made me not. I mean, I just have no reason to care about him. Like he's in the Callis family. Is he not? Is he really? I don't know. Who cares really? So I just Ricochet seems the one that's going to come out, but I think Orange Cassidy, whoever comes out of the Cassidy Bailey, which I like that we don't know who's going to win that match. Like that could go either way, which is cool, I guess. Um, but whoever wins that, I think Ricochet needs to beat them and move on to the final. And because I think him against Omega would be a heck of a match, even though there's no build to it.
Yeah, I know. I think Ricochet and Omega is going to be just fantastic. I have no idea if they've faced off in the past. They probably maybe have at some point. I'm sure. If you guys are new here, I am not the biggest New Japan follower.
Yeah,
I
me
just
neither.
no hate. I just never. I didn't have access to it for the longest time, and then I was in the WWE bubble for the longest time too. Man, it was just guilty. But I have gone back and watched some stuff now, and I'll actually write that down because I do put that on my phone. I actually want to see if there has been. Oh well, I'm on this thing called a computer. I could put it in there now and check later. But yeah, I am looking forward to what I think will end up being the. Oh yeah, it looks like they did have a match back in 2014.
Oh wow.
PWG. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
right. I mean, it sounds like that
So
could have
yeah,
happened for sure.
Battle of Los Angeles. Okay, cool. So I will actually check that out later. Because I'm sure it's fantastic, right? And I'm sure the match is gonna be fantastic, right? I should say, but it's just sometimes I feel like, and to be fair, WWE as well. I feel like sometimes companies fall back on tournaments as a crutch, but I do like that at least we're doing something with one of the mid card titles, I guess, right? And at least it is getting some prominence on the show itself and some
Yeah.
spotlight. You know what I mean? Because where's the TNT title? You know what I mean? It's
Oh,
just it.
uh,
They
nowhere.
they desperately have to do something with these three mid card men's titles. You know what I mean? Just
Money.
or at least have some type of tier system for it. So yeah, and like you said, really quick, and I'm gonna remove this. But yeah, Mark Briscoe, Mark Davis, like the Battle of the Marks. I don't know what we're doing. Like that. Why are they in the tournament? Like why? Why? Just okay. So yeah, and I think Shibata and Ricochet is gonna be a fun match too. But yeah, and I think we're gonna end up getting Speedball Mike Bailey and Ricochet at the end, which will be a fun match too, because very similar styles, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it is going to end up being Omega and Ricochet. And again, I was one of those people who had to eat crow, you know, and I throw some of that toilet paper my way because Ricochet came in first when they hired Ricochet. I was like, bro, like he's gonna get lost in the shuffle. Like I didn't necessarily say there's 1,000 Ricochets, you know what I mean, but there are a lot of similar styles out there to Ricochet, and it's hard to stand out if you're someone of his skill set and moveset, right? But he
Mhm.
completely, and even the first few months into his AEW run, not a few months, but the first couple months, I was like, man, like you left WWE for this? Like why? Like yes, you weren't main eventing over there, but like it was better than this, and completely wrong on in that regard and on that front. Yes, that little aha thing still annoys the fuck out of me and it makes me cringe. Sorry, Sean, but I mean it's just it makes me cringe, man.
Yeah.
I can't stand the aha, but everything else, and I get that's the point, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
aware,
Right.
but it's
Did you know?
it's
Did you know that's supposed to be annoying, Ash? Did you know that's
yeah.
supposed to be annoying?
Oh, I know now. Sorry. You got me. But it's just like because to me, like for instance, like on Dynamite, like I felt like he had a pretty good promo, you know, like and then
Yeah.
like at the end, like I don't want to say he ruins it because he doesn't ruin it, but like the aha is just like ah like bro, like and I know he's doing it now just to like get people like me and it's fucking working, man, and I get it, and that's
Yeah.
why I think
Yeah.
it bothers me as much as it does. And that's fine. You got me, man. You got me. But I don't know. I wrapping up that portion, props to Ricochet. And to be fair, you know, because I myself talk shit about, you know, like the booking and lack of stories and just lack of
Mhm.
direction a lot. And I feel like the powers that be, Tony Khan, right? You know, we give him a lot of shit, but we gotta give him praise too. They did turn Ricochet around. And Ricochet could have been one of those just fighting the storm, you know, like nah, like this is my wheelhouse, like I'm just gonna stay in this lane. But he completely switched it up and embraced it. So I feel like you just gotta give him credit, at least on this one, even if it's not like 100% your cup of tea, right? But I don't know.
Yeah.
And him with the baseball hats, bro, like he's such a douchebag, and like it's just like he's wearing the nice suit and then the backwards hat. It's just like that guy, and it's just like oh, it's perfect, it's perfect. But he's just like he's that guy, man. So whatever, props to him.
Oh man, no,
I'll
for
give
sure.
him I'll give him his credit. But I do want to scroll back here a little bit. What up, everyone? What up? What up? Ringside Renaissance, they popped in. Oop. We appreciate you. I appreciate y'all, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate the love that Ringside Renaissance puts out
You guys
there.
are
And
good dudes.
yeah, man. And they promote so much positivity, man,
They
on the
do.
cesspool that is Twitter. So follow them. If you need a breath of fresh air, follow them. But of course,
Mhm.
Maddie, what up? And Eddie, you're in here. Fred Bucks, what up, bro? Going back to what we were talking about earlier, well, what you were talking about specifically about Axiom, um, and
Thank you,
Gunther.
Fred.
Looks like you
Thank
have,
you.
yes,
Thank
you have
you.
a companion there, man. You definitely have a companion. And then
I
he
did have a
said,
few. I did have a few
yeah,
last night too.
you did,
Not many, but I had a few. So
yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
He said when Speedball came out after the commercial break, I was done. So I don't think we got one there. I don't think I have a fan there. But Fernando, what up, man? What up? What up?
Love
But yes,
Fernando.
Fernando, I agree with you, man. You said Tony protects Orange Cassidy too much at the expense of more talented wrestlers. I do, I do agree with you there, man. He does protect Orange Cassidy a lot, and I don't even know if yes, protecting them, but the presentation with Cassidy, I think he's more protective of, and he's more careful of, and he puts more thought into than I think most other wrestlers. I think it's kind of where I'm at with Tony Khan and Orange Cassidy, but he loves him some OC, man. Like,
Yes,
I
he
don't know what
does.
Orange Cassidy has done for Tony Khan, but shit, like he's like they're BFFs or some shit.
Yeah,
But
they are close. They are close.
my guy, Sai, what up, man? He said not around tonight, but just dropping to say, hey, what up, man? I appreciate you. I appreciate you popping in, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, Sai's a good guy. I appreciate. I mean, he's such a good. I mean, he's helped you. He got this elaborate setup you have now. It's all because of Sai. It's
Mm-hmm.
all him.
It is. It is. It is indeed. And Fred said brain dead booking regarding Tony Khan.
Well, yeah, sometimes I have to agree.
You know.
Sometimes. Oh man,
All
yeah. I
right,
mean,
cool.
and Ricochet Swerve's been a good feud. I have enjoyed that feud. I think that's been the one feud they've told some stories and they're actually building to something. So I think that's been fine. And Swerve is the number one contender now, which I'm a fan of. I don't think he should have lost the daggum title in the first place to Bryan Danielson, who I'm a fan of Bryan Danielson, but not in AEW I wouldn't. And him losing the title just to have Bryan Danielson, he already had his moment. He doesn't need another moment. Like just to have Swerve lose to him, like I just But Swerve's at least in a better spot now than he was, so I'm thankful for that at least.
Yeah. 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 And I like how they have Swerve being set up as the guy that the champion is going to face. I love that presentation, whether it's going to be Moxley retaining or Copeland winning the championship. They will be facing Swerve. I loved the flow
Yeah.
when they were going through and they announced the I don't know. I don't we'll just talk about it now. And then we'll go back to Revolution. um it's everyone who's here now knows me, so being out of order and random is it's fine. But the fact that they announced this rematch just randomly, God, I forget after what segment it was, but I kind of want to go back and find it. Kind of don't care that much, but it was after some, I don't want to say random segment, but they just randomly threw up a graphic for the rematch of Mox versus Copeland for next week and setting the scene for it, which cool. I'm glad that they promoted it, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
Sometimes we
That's
haven't
good.
gotten that, or it's been like day of or the day before, but I'm wondering the mindset of the rematch, the one-on-one rematch. Is it because there's been a lot of shit, like, of course, with the main event from Revolution. So we'll kind of tie in a few as we go along here. But so we'll talk about this and then your thoughts on the Revolution main event itself. And Christian finally not cashing in his contract. But the fact that they're doing a rematch and on a random Wednesday, really, because it's not even a themed dynamite unless I missed something, but it's not even like a winter is coming or any themed dynamite like we've gotten in the past. But I'm wondering if it's either A, the fact that some people have said, oh, like if you notice, like Adam Copeland hasn't put over anyone in AEW in a singles match besides, I think it was like Christian, um, and maybe one other person, but he hadn't lost really at all. And he even beat, like when you go back and think of it, like Malachi Black, he beat him, and it's just I don't know, it's just kind of I didn't notice that, to be honest with you, and that really wasn't. I don't know. Maybe if I had noticed it prior, it would have bothered me a little bit more. But the thing that bothered me the most was just the fact that the whole idea, once we finally, or I'll speak for myself, once I finally got an idea of what the fuck we're doing with this Death Rider thing, and with Moxley being the championship, and what his motives are, the idea was that AEW is not being taken seriously anymore. Like as a company, like people backstage are like goofing off. Like he wanted to rhythm evolve, like the oh my god, what is Tony Nese's and like your Orange Cassidy's, like you're kind of like
Yeah.
goofball like wrestlers, right? And the
Yeah.
people who weren't taking it
Which
seriously.
is a babyface thing. That's a babyface thing
Yeah,
to do.
exactly, exactly. So again, from the jump, like I had issues with it, which I'm not going to get into right now because you started off by going up against Bryan Danielson, who was none of that. He was literally on your side, but whatever. I'm past that at this point. But neither is Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland, first of all, wasn't an AEW original. Like, cool, he wants to fight for the company. I love that for him. Great. But he shouldn't be one really being taken seriously in this type of storyline to be the one to dethrone Moxley. So if you're gonna do that match, fine. But what's Moxley going after then? Like, why is he? I don't know. Like, I just feel like I said it somewhere else, but with AEW, I'm not gonna say as a whole, but at least with the main event scene and however long it's been now, I just always go into that portion of the show feeling like I missed something and just
Mhm.
feeling like, damn, like I missed a week or I missed like a key portion of the storyline and just whatever. Because I don't know, man. And Mox saying like, oh, he doesn't make the same mistake twice, and I'm just like, well, then I don't know. And it, to me, man, I'm trying, but I'm gonna stop there and let you kind of speak your mind. But I real quick, I was just not here for the main event at all. I think it just really the layout and what should have actually main evented the pay per view itself. I think hindsight is 2020, so I'm not gonna beat Tony Khan up too much for that. But ideally, in my opinion, it would have been great for Tony Storm and Mariah May to end it, especially with the ending of the match itself, with like the end and everything. It just would have been really cool. But I understand, and I'm not even that worked up about that portion. But just the fact that you have all this build up and all this hype for Christian Cage not cashing in his money in the bank briefcase, right? Contract, whatever you want to call it. And it was okay, fine. Like it's not valid until he signs the contract. Fine. Like it's kind of eye rolling, but kind of cool that it's something different, right? Like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
Like he has to actually
I
put
could be
pen to
okay with
paper.
that.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay. Like that makes
yeah,
sense. You have to sign a contract for it to be valid. Fine. Makes total sense.
yeah.
But even kind of like tying back into Dynamite, I didn't like his explanation. Well, at least the portion where he told the referee that he was cashing in to have a one-on-one match with Copeland. But that makes no sense. Like he was already in an active match. It was still an ongoing match. Why would you be cashing in your contract for a
Yeah.
one-on-one match
It
against
was.
Copeland?
Well, that's what I'm
Didn't
saying.
make
It was.
sense.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was a heel thing to say. Like, I get that that's what he was going for. Like, just so outrageous. Like, oh, that's my truth. Like, that's what I thought I was gonna do. And it's just being a stupid heel. It's just being a oblivious
Yeah.
heel. It's just being dumb. Like, yeah. I no. I mean, I didn't mean to cut. I didn't mean to cut you off on what you were
No,
saying
go.
there. But as far as the main event, yeah, the main event sucked. I mean, it sucked. I mean, you have. Well, the thing I didn't like about the match order was, yeah, I mean, retrospect, Tony Mariah should have made evented. It was the match everybody was looking forward to. It was the trilogy. This has been the story we've been invested in for a long time. We've actually enjoyed, you and I, even though there's flaws in it, but since the whole Tony, amnesia stuff was a little like, I didn't like some of that, but we were invested in it though. We actually enjoyed the story. This was the match where they were gonna end it for good, and then you have Rick, Osprey and Fletcher in this crazy cage match where they do all kinds
Yeah.
of blood, all kinds of crazy stuff, and then you try to have a main event like this where they're having a regular wrestling match that nobody's really invested in. We know who's winning. We know there's going to be a bunch of interference that comes out. Yet Yuta comes out. Dude, I'm over Wheeler Yuta at this point. I don't
Bro,
care
me
about
too,
Wheeler
man.
Yuta anymore. And
Me
oh, he's
too.
gonna swerve us and he's gonna go back to Moxley again. Oh, joy. That we didn't see that coming. Oh, awesome. Great. So then Jay White, again, Jay White is just in such a bad spot right now. Like he's in such a weird spot where he turned babyface for really no reason. We're behind him, but then it's like, okay, I'm gonna stick up for Copeland. Then he accidentally hits Copeland during the match. I think ultimately Jay White's going to turn heel, and I think that's the best thing for him because if they could put something behind him as a heel, I think it would be great. And Fernando just said that. I'm with Fernando. I think that's what should happen because Jay needs a boost somehow, and I think if he turns back heel on Copeland, I think that could help. He would obviously need to beat Copeland. I mean, he couldn't lose to him because that would be freaking stupid. But Tony Khan, you never know. You never know. But so the Jay White stuff was, and then Christian, the whole thing with him. You said that already. I didn't like anything about that at all. It was like, who cares about the contract? And then Christian comes in and he gets choked out in like 2 minutes. Like he's been in the ring for what 2 minutes and he gets choked out. Like what? Come on! Like it's just the whole thing wasn't good. Nothing about it was good. Moxley I want to get behind Moxley because again, I've always enjoyed him as a character, and his promos. He makes chicken salad out of chicken crap. He tries the best he can out of these promos, but we just don't buy into what he's selling. And it's just the title. Where's the title? We don't even know if he has it. It could be in Timbuktu for all we know. I don't know. So it's just been a big mess, and I really hope they can get away from this. And that's why I like Swerve, even though I don't want him in a way with this whole nonsense because I want Swerve kind of away from it. But if they could have Swerve just win the title and move away from this crap, I think that'd be better for everybody. So it's been bad all around. I have not really enjoyed any of the Moxley, Copeland, any of it. It's been pretty rough for me.
Do you think though? My dog's may bark here in a second. But do you think though that Swerve is actually going to be the one that dethrones Moxley at Dynasty, or do you think we're continuing to All In to face possibly Will Ospreay or whomever at that point? But it's still going to be Moxley defending against whomever at All In.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I'm nervous that Swerve's going to lose at Dynasty, and they're just going to go from there and try to build to an all in thing. But they need to get the title off Moxley now. I mean, they got to get it off of him. It's just not been good. Swerve needs to be the champion. Build to a. That's what I'm saying. I don't know who Swerve, because I'm not big into face matches at all in. And that's my thing is like you could build to a Swerve Osprey, but I don't, two faces is fine. I'm not against it like I am two heels, but I want to build to a good heel face dynamic match where I can invest in two characters, one I don't like, one I like, and build to that. So, but Swerve I do think will win at Dynasty, but I'm curious as to where they go once he wins the championship. That's going to be kind of interesting, and I really haven't got a gauge on where they're going with that yet.
Okay, so you said you do think Swerve is going to win at Dynasty and
I
dethrone
think so.
Mox?
I think he
Okay.
has to. This
Okay.
this this storyline sucks. It's got to
I
be
mean,
ending soon.
bro, I mean, shit, yeah, it sucks, but I mean, it's been sucking for
A year.
God, how long now? Like half my life, it feels like. But I don't think it's gonna end at Dynasty, dude. I think it's going into All In.
Uh,
I think it's gonna crescendo and quote unquote in Tony Khan's mind peak at All
oh
In.
my gosh.
I would love for it to be Swerve too, and I maybe depending on the build that we'll get in the next few weeks leading into Dynasty, I guess after next week once Moxley successfully retains against Copeland. Spoiler there, guys. But I think we do need to see right the build that we have going forward with Swerve because I think it's going to be pretty obvious too, depending on how they present Swerve. If they
Right.
position him, and I think the verbiage that's where relays on the mic, I think is going to be key as well. If he goes out there and guarantees guarantees becoming the champion, right, and not just guarantees victory because he could win via DQ or some bullshit like
Oh,
that and not
right.
actually
I
win the
know.
championship.
Gosh.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they presented going into Dynasty and especially I feel like that go home man like because Swerve is one of those he's not like if he loses even clean to Moxley like I would not be here for it but
No.
I'm not gonna say he's bulletproof but like I'm not gonna say he's gonna be like broken if he loses to Moxley but I think that he also too is one of those guys that you should just throw up against it that you should put in that situation in that type of main event slot and just have him lose just because. Like he shouldn't just be another guy to feed to Moxley type thing. Like it should
Right.
be
No,
you're
absolutely.
going to like it's going if he either wins, okay, cool. But if not, then it needs to be for a damn good reason and not just a quick roll up, a choke out, but he didn't
Yes.
tap out, like he passed out. Like no, like okay, like we went from never seeing that hardly to seeing that like once a month type shit now. I feel like between WWE, AEW, and just wrestling like all over. I feel like at this point, which
Mhm.
I'm not even against it, but I just feel like we're seeing it a bit too much now, and it's kind of getting to be a cop out too. Like I don't know, like there's I don't know, like you said with Christian Cage, like that shit was just ridiculous. But what up,
And
Deron? I'm sorry, go
well,
ahead,
no, say it makes Dynasty feel like a big show if Swerve wins. It makes
dude.
Dynasty feel
Yeah,
like it's a good show. Like we could, build up to something like that. It'd be cool. I think it'd be great.
yeah. Um, I just want to say what up to Duran really quick before I continued on, and it got
Duran.
lost in the comments here. But what up, man? What up? What up? How you doing? How are you and the fam doing out there, man? I'm happy you're here. Appreciate you popping in. But dude, I'm looking forward to Dynasty though. I really do feel like something is gonna happen in that main event match between Mox and Swerve. Like I was saying, like I don't know, or I don't see for everything that all the shit we give TK. Like I don't see him putting Swerve in this situation just because. I feel like something big is gonna happen either by victory or in defeat, and maybe that's just me holding out hope. If we get a clean victory for Moxley over Swerve or something crazy like that. Now I wonder also too, kind of going back to Revolution, to kind of tie everything in. I
Yeah.
wonder if the big thing that does end up happening at Dynasty is going to be Prince Nana turning on Swerve because
Yeah.
Swerve
That could
did
happen.
Swerve did win him and win the rights to the robe, right? And I really loved the visual of Swerve like bending, like bending the knee to Nana. I was always, I
Yeah.
think, in the minority of people who thought that Swerve didn't need Nana, and almost that
Yeah.
Nana was kind of, I don't want to say hurting Swerve, but there were just certain moments and certain environments where Prince Nana's dancing to me was just kind of taking away from the seriousness. And like I get it and it's cool and like it really amplified like Swerve by a lot, right? The dancing, crowd engagement, all that shit. I get that. I'm not even against it, but just not every time, right? And like I don't know with the Hangman stuff, I don't know, like just there's I think right and wrong moments for it in my opinion, but I'm wondering if the way Swerve loses at Dynasty is by Prince Nana costing him the victory, aligning with whomever, and then that's setting up Swerve's next opponent retains or Moxley retains, moves on to All In at that point. Well, we will still have Double or Nothing coming up, but it to me it's just All In or bust for Moxley, and I think, and at this point too, fast forwarding back to Dynasty or to Dynamite, I think that having wrestlers call their shot early for All In, like a Will Ospreay and like what he did in his promo. I think that was a good move and a good look, And they had, I don't know if it was AEW or if it was a fan or someone got a great shot of the back of Will Ospreay, like looking up towards the sign or their banner, right? And kind of like, the point to the WrestleMania sign type thing. But I thought that was cool, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it is early to declare for the Owen, but another tournament. But I like that they're thinking ahead. They're actually planning ahead. And you're speculating early, right? Like we're sitting here, well, at least I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, like I think Mox is gonna retain all the way to All In and be the one to face off against potentially Will Ospreay if he wins the champion or he wins the tournament. So they're doing some things right, but man, like I don't know, like I don't know, maybe unfairly so, but I feel like when AEW misses, man, like that shit is just so glaring. It almost like overshadows all the good. You know what I mean? Because backtracking again to Revolution, it was a great pay per view. Like they had a great string of what 3 matches up until the main event, 4 matches up until the main event, and then the main event just shit the bed. Like at least the ending did, and it's really
Yeah.
unfortunate because we're sitting here, I'm sitting here being negative Nancy on the main event, just really if we were grading it, like in my opinion, knocking it down at least a grade or two, just because
Yeah.
that's your main event should be ideally what people are truly paying their money to see, right? Like yes, at this point it's
Yeah.
just you're going for the show itself, but
Right.
ideally, man, the main event is what sells the ticket. And
Exactly.
it's just not good, man. It's just not good. And I don't believe that title is in that briefcase. That shit is way too small for that title to be in that briefcase, man. I don't care what anyone says.
Mm. I mean,
I have
so
to
going
see
back
it
to
to
what you said
believe it.
about yeah, so what you said about Swerve, I hope Nana doesn't turn on Swerve. I really hope he doesn't.
Yeah, I hope he
I
doesn't
that's not
too.
because I just I mean, like you said, if they built and again, I'm not against Osprey if he is the one ultimately to beat Moxley. Like I'm not down on that because I mean I love Will Osprey. I think he's done a really nice job. But there were things about that match with Fletcher that I didn't like. I mean, it was a great cage match, but I didn't need somebody interfering, getting in the cage. I didn't need that. They don't need that. Like
No.
WWE did that all the time, and it was stupid, and we couldn't stand them doing it. And then AEW's doing the same thing. They're letting Mark Davis get in the cage, and it's like, no, we don't need
Yeah.
that. Like, we don't need screwdrivers hitting people with screwdrivers. We don't need that kind of stuff. There were 3 matches that if you take 3 matches off that card, if you take Mercedes, I mean, she's a star, but she didn't need to be on that card. Nobody cared about Momo Watanabe. We knew she wasn't going to win that match. It was like a waste of 10 minutes. It was like 18
That
minutes,
was
I think.
18 minutes. I was about to, yeah, I was about to say the real tragedy in that is that they got longer than Timeless Tony Storm. I
Yes,
don't know why I said
that.
timeless like Seth freaking Rollins, Tony Storm. You can say just
The,
Tony Storm, but
so that
yeah,
match, you have the Hurt Business, Hurt Syndicate. Dang it, I hadn't done
yeah,
that, and then all of a sudden I
I
do it
know.
now. Hurt Syndicate against the freaking Outrunners. I can't stand that gimmick. I
Oh,
can't
dude.
stand it. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. Get it off my TV. That was a waste of a match. Didn't need to be on the dang pay per view. And then I'm sorry, Okada's been a waste. I don't need him wrestling. I mean, him against Brody King was a good match, but it had no build. We knew Okada was going to win, and you hurt Brody King even more because he's like, there's something in there with Brody King. I like Brody
Yeah.
King, and he's losing to Okada, who did like one move and did the Rainmaker, which looked not good to me. I don't like that finishing move unless it's you build it up to a 30, 40, 50-minute match. Yeah, maybe it's great, but it doesn't look good in a 12-minute match against a guy who had dominated you the whole match. It just, oh, geez.
Fernando agrees, man. Outrunners are trash.
So I will say,
That's funny.
I was looking at Collision, just kind of like in my periphery.
Oh, I know. I
So,
meant to say that earlier. Sorry, guys. I didn't even realize earlier, dude, that we were gonna be doing this shit right during Collision. So my bad.
so Ricochet did win. So, but apparently now it's a 4-way between all 4 winners against each other next week, which at least is
Well, wait.
okay in
Maybe,
this.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe should we talk about results from Collision? Maybe
Oh, sorry.
is anyone
Yeah, sorry.
we'll get a, what do they call it, a whatever, we'll gauge or get a gauge of the room, we'll get a temperature of the room, whatever they call it.
No more than
Is
that.
anyone going to be watching? I mean, I don't care because I'm not one of
Collision's
those
not a good
people.
show, so it's not a good show.
Sometimes like I'll specifically like listen to like review shows driving home from like my part time, even though like I'm going home to watch the show, just to get an idea of what I'm gonna watch, just to like
Yeah.
sometimes either get more excited for it and be like, all right, well I ain't watching that shit, But yeah, if you guys are not gonna watch Collision, we'll talk about Collision as it happens while we're still live here. But no, but yeah, as you were saying though, it's so they're gonna have, I guess, a 4-way, and then the
The
4-way.
just the winners will all 4 winners will battle. So it'll be Cassidy, Bailey, Ricochet, and then the winner of the Briscoe Davis match will just be in a 4-way match next on Dynamite. Which is
Dang.
okay. It's okay in the sense of at least if you have that match, then you can at least build up for a couple weeks to Omega, at least something. But it's
Hold
still
on.
dumb because they didn't say that when they showed a bracket. That's not how a bracket works. You don't just all of a sudden have 4 winners and they all face each other. But that's what they're showing on that's what
Well,
they're
and
going
now
to
I
do this
gotta
year.
sit here and fucking look up the actual rules to this tournament, because now I'm just sitting here like, what did you say? International
Like, what
Series
did I miss?
tournament.
Like, I'm thinking, did I miss something here? Like, what did I
All right,
miss?
so all right, I'm pulling it up here. So say no, that's a championship. Say that one more time. So it's gonna be the final 4, and then the winner of the final 4, they're gonna face who? They
Like,
face Omega.
as far as it looks like, because it's got the thing saying the 4 people in a 4-way match, and I'm assuming whoever wins that 4-way would face Omega. I mean, I don't know why you'd have any other matches. I mean, that would be kind of weird. I mean, I'm assuming that's the goal. But I thought it was just a bracket. I thought that 4 winners would face 2, 2 face each other, and 2 face, and then they would do the 2 winners. But apparently, they're just doing a 4-way match with all 4 the guys that won. So I I don't know. It's weird to me. They're just booking on the fly to me. It's just however they just want to book it that week. That's what they do, and I just I don't we're thinking harder about it than they do. Tony doesn't think about it. He just does what he does, and that's what he's. I mean, unless I missed something when he first brought out the bracket, I don't know. I didn't hear anything from Excalibur saying that they were going to be in a 4-way. I just assumed it was a bracket format. I didn't think there was anything different about it, but I guess I was wrong. 4-way match, here we come. 4 people.
I'm trying to.
So
The
I
winner
don't
of the
know.
match joins
The Briscoes
in
facing
Wednesday's four-way
Davis right now.
tournament
They're wrestling
final.
right now. So I'll keep you guys
During this
updated
match,
because
it was
Fernando's watching it
announced
with
that
us.
the.
So as we're talking about it,
Okay,
he'll.
but
But so I'll let you know
I'm
who
just trying
wins
to.
that whenever it happens.
God, they just do too much, man. Just have a fucking regular tournament.
I know. If you're gonna do a tournament, just do a tournament.
God,
Don't book on the fly the way you feel like booking. Just
because I'm
do
sitting
what
here
it.
trying to look up the rules, and then I get frustrated, and then I just say, "Fuck it, I don't care, whatever, just whatever."
it
I'll just find out on Dynasty. Just
yeah,
find
that's
out
it.
week
I
by
mean, it's
week.
just. But no. So go back to Revolution. Just as far as it was a very good show. I wouldn't even say a great show because yeah, they had the three matches that were really really good. They were great, but then there was a lot of stuff I didn't need on the pay per view. There was like even Tony Mariah. I'll talk about that real quick as you're trying to look that up. Like with Tony Mariah, the match itself was fantastic. Like I loved everything about the
Yes,
match.
yes,
But why? See, to me, my argument for the match was if you're gonna only like the argument I heard for having it for 12 minutes was they're bleeding like when Tony started bleeding so much early on in the match, like she did a gusher, like really big gusher, like it was just all over like immediately. They
yeah,
were like, well, she can't go as long because she's bleeding so much. Like that's why they're going really, really fast. But I don't like going to spots like that fast. Like they went from spot to spot really quick, and those were some hard spots, like glass spots, going through tables, going through all this stuff. They're
shit,
just getting
yeah.
right back up and doing more spots on each other. And I'm like, so you got to sell this stuff, man. This is a gruesome, bloody, violent match, and you're just going from spot to spot. You're doing all that in 12 minutes. Like I just that was the only disconnect for me. Other than that, I thought it was the stuff they did was great. It was just the way they did it. I wasn't like I would rather that go 20 to 25 minutes. And have three that's what I say. You have three matches that don't even need to effing be on the show. And you could build to a Tony Mariah 30-minute match. And it could be fantastic. But no, you have three matches that nobody cares about. We know who's gonna win, and it's just a waste of our time. Have them on Collision, as Fernando was saying, or have them on Dynamite. Put more good matches on Dynamite. Build to matches on Dynamite. Build these people. Build Okada. Okada is a waste of time right now. Make him feel important. Just
Cannot agree more. I found the rules, man, and silly me, I should have been on my Twitter on March 11th, so I would have been able to be privy of the
okay.
rules. So,
Okay.
because our guy
Nice.
TK told us, so it's our fault, Sean.
Okay. All
So
right. I will take fault.
it's official. So here we go. The AEW hashtag AEW Dynasty International Eliminator starts tomorrow on Wednesday Night Dynamite hashtag AEW Dynamite. 4 first round matches on Dynamite and Collision. The winners will fight next Wednesday night in a 4-way eliminator, with the winner earning a title shot versus Kenny Omega at Kenny Omega Man X on PPV at Dynasty. I'm surprised he didn't
All
hashtag
right.
Dynasty there. Um,
There you go.
okay,
Okay.
so
Nope. I understood that already. All right. Gotcha.
so okay, so
It's. I mean, I still don't like just
okay,
random four-way
okay,
matches like that. But the only thing for me is I'm like, well, at least again, you have next week. So at least you have a couple weeks to like if Ricochet wins that four-way, at least you
yeah,
build to Ricochet and Omega for a couple weeks. Like I'm at least okay with that. I don't love it, but I'm okay with it. Because if you just did the 2 weeks, you'd have no build for that match either. And it'd be like, all right, well, this is kind of a
yeah,
waste of just a match. But yeah,
for
it's
sure,
all right. It's fine.
for sure. Like I just, man, like
I don't
I
want to go to
sound so,
Twitter to find out stuff. Tell me on the
yeah,
freaking
man,
show. Don't
and I
stop
just,
going to. He never said that on the show. They never said anything about a four-way until today on Collision that they're having a four-way. I never saw anything about on. For anybody in the chat, if they said that on Dynamite last week, let me know because I don't remember anything them saying about a four-way match, the four winners going up against each other. I mean, social media. Tony needs to get off freaking social media. He just needs to get off of it. It's just a waste of. Oh, it's just it makes my blood boil just thinking about it.
well, dude, I wonder if we're gonna have another major announcement. We haven't had one of those in a while.
Oh,
When a
gee,
major
no,
announcement or anything.
gosh.
Speaking of
Well, it
social
looks like
media.
Mark Davis was the winner of that. So Mark Davis beat Briscoe.
Get
So
out.
it's gonna be yeah. Yeah, which I don't agree with. I mean, I just would rather go Briscoe at that point. I mean, at least Briscoe. So again, why did Briscoe beat Kyle Fletcher again? Why? 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 It's the Continental Classic. Everybody beats everybody. It's great. It's awesome. No, it's stupid. And now Mark Davis. So it's Cassidy, Speedball Mike Bailey, Ricochet, and Mark Davis in a four-way to see who faces Omega on Dynamite this week. So there you go.
Just like my guy Maddie, who's coming in hot in the comments in the chat section with his I don't even know his like jokes. This one really quick. What subject do cats like best in school? History. But I gotta get some sound effects. Great job, Maddie. You're starting the day off strong, man. Because I think he said
Heck
it's like
yeah.
8:30 in the morning over where he's at. He's in the UK, so I think
Oh
he
man,
said.
good morning,
I
Maddie.
think he
Good
is.
morning, sir.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. So yeah, but he did say also TNA advertises more than AEW, which is facts because, bro, it's just laughable the lack of advertising they do. They had World's End here in Orlando, whatever month that was, and you even driving up to the area, they didn't have any signs. Like, you know, like for instance, like on they had at the Edition Financial Arena, which is like a small, it's perfect for AEW, right? Like, but it's a smaller arena than like the Kia Center where the Orlando Magic play.
Yeah.
But the area, it's kind of like a college area, so they have a shit ton of like lamp posts and everything because that area is opened up late. Um, no signage, no nothing. You know how WWE will put like the like little like rectangle banners, and you'll have like Rhea Ripley's face and Seth Rollins, or just like the AEW
Yeah.
World's End, like just the nothing, dude, nothing. And it's just like, man, like y'all really like y'all are y'all allergic to advertising or something? Like, is it just not in the
Right.
budget? Like, I don't get it, man. And I'll
Yeah.
never
I don't get it
forget
at
that when
all.
they were going to Chicago. It was one of their Chicago shows last year, and I almost I almost wanted to bring it up to Wade when I called in one night, but I didn't want to just because I didn't want to be that person. Because Wade's show has a little bit of, like if certain things will make news, right? From Wade's show, and like certain things that
Yeah.
he says, and like I just
Mhm.
and like because I don't want to bash AEW. Like, I'm not here. I love AEW. You know what I mean? Like I want them to.
Right.
I get
Right.
frustrated because I want them to do as best as they can, and I feel like in some ways they don't. Same thing with WWE, man. Like, they fucking get on my nerves with a lot of stuff. Like, the women's division is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. The tag division is very much lacking. It We could go a whole nother hour on that. But the the advertisement that they did for this show, and I can't remember, maybe it was the Thanksgiving show for Chicago that they're going into. I don't know. I
That sounds right.
whatever.
That
But
sounds
it
right.
was, yeah, it was one of their Chicago shows. It was just like not a random Dynamite, but it was a Dynamite episode, not a pay per view. The promotion that they did in the video package that they gave to the news station, the local news station for that Dynamite, was footage from back in 2019, 2020 of Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes. And they were airing it as it was current day. Like, you're gonna see Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes at the show that night. You're gonna see Dustin Rhodes and like all these people. And
Mm.
Cody hadn't been in the company for 2 years, 3 years. Like, he was already the WWE champion at this point. Like, why are you showing him in a video on the news? Like, why did you send that to them? The news didn't go out there and find the video of Cody Rhodes. Like, they wouldn't know where to start. Like, your
Right.
team sends them videos and PR stuff to put out there, and you gave them a video of a champion from a different company that wasn't
Mhm.
your company 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago at this point. So yeah, man, the advertising is just fucking atrocious. TNA did a much better job when they were doing their shows here, when they were
Right.
taping at Full Sail.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's just little things like that, man. And the merchandise, like, it's just, they just leave so much money on the table, man. It's just,
So
I
much.
don't know, I don't know, but oh yeah, yeah, that's right, Australia, that's right. Down at That's where he's at. He's in Australia. He's 3 hours south of Perth.
Maddie, you and
Our
Jason
friend
from Australia
Maddie,
need to get together from the tours. You guys need to get together, man. That would be awesome.
dude,
That'd be
right?
some cool stuff right there.
That'd be
Be
crazy.
all about that.
But we will start winding down here in the next few moments. But I do want to talk about also. Oh, I'm just gonna close this screen out. The First of all, how do you did you buy oh my god, what was the pay-per-view that we just watched?
Revolution.
Revolution. Yeah, did you watch Revolution live or did
Yeah.
you watched
Yeah,
it
I watched
live,
live.
right? Yeah, cuz you did, yeah. So, do you buy it on like Amazon? Like how do you or now on Amazon or like HBO? Like do you just stream it? You don't have to give out your ways if you watch otherwise. But just with because and this really has nothing to do with anything storyline or creative related, but to me it's very frustrating because I do get excited for AEW pay-per-views, right? Like I've
Yeah.
always said it's a broken record at this point. Once like the build up can suck for the pay-per-view itself, but the pay-per-view is damn near always great, borderline like bottom of the barrel, like you'll say it's good, which is
Yeah.
still so much better light years from what WWE gave us years ago, right?
Right. Right.
Sometimes current day. But AEW normally 9 times out of 10 delivers on their pay-per-views, and it's just so annoying the avenues that you have to go down or the money that you have to spend. And they made such a big deal out of being on Amazon now. And I'm just like, bro, like, don't even give me hype, man. Don't even get me excited that you're making a change and you're, like, oh, a big
Yeah.
announcement regarding like the way you can access pay-per-views. No, man.
So
It's just
stupid.
it's just trash. And for me, like sometimes like I'm glad they're off of what was it? Bleacher Report. I think that was the one.
Yeah, that was the one that was bad. That was always
Yeah,
glitching
it
and
was
always
Bleacher
bad.
Report, right? Just trash, man. But we're so spoiled now with the well, not WWE Network, but Peacock now, and just the streaming sites, or not streaming sites, but the streaming avenues that we can get WWE on, and then their PLEs. AEW needs to do something about it, because especially with them going into having more pay-per-views throughout the year, you
Yeah.
can't be expecting people to dish out $50 a month, especially when the product isn't as good as it once was. Sure, things go up and down, right, in popularity, but man, like, I don't know. And then to turn around and have to do it again, what, 3 weeks from now? Not even. It's just,
Yeah.
like, I'm not sitting here like scraping the bottom of the barrel, but like, I'm not over here just like floating on money either. You know what I mean? So it's like
Right.
y'all gotta
No.
you gotta earn it. And I think I don't remember which show it was, but it was a pay per view. I think within the past 6 months or so. Like, I remember you saying on one of the shows that they hadn't earned your money, and you weren't buying that pay per view. I don't remember which one it was specifically, but yeah,
A
man,
few
I
of them.
just a few of them, but it's just I think you would not just speak for you, but I think you would be more inclined to have a stream. Like, you'd be more likely to sign up for an HBO, for instance, right? If the pay per views were available to stream on HBO, or even maybe at a discounted price. But like, it's
Mhm.
just kind of crazy to me, man. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know why that just came into my brain. But your
No,
thoughts on
so
that?
so number one, the whole point I thought when they got the deal with Max was to put the pay-per-views on freaking Max where you could just go on Max and watch
Mm-hmm.
them. That was the whole effing point of doing that. And then they're like, "Oh, they're going to be on Amazon Prime." Well, dude, I'm still paying $50 on Amazon Prime, you moron. Yeah, it's good for you because it's good money, more money in your pocket, but I'm still
Right.
dishing out my $50. And yes, the pay-per-view is good, but the build, again, that's my thing. Most of the builds have been bad. And so it's like, why do I want to watch a pay per view where the build's not good leading up to it? And the argument is, well, the pay per view is going to be good. Well, I mean, that's cool, but I want a good build to a pay per view. And so this $50, like, it's going to be hard again spending $50. I mean, that's my thing is I'm going to get Dynasty because I do feel confident they're going to have Swerve win. I don't know how confident that should be, but I don't feel. And then I'm going to watch it and be like,
Mm.
why did I do that? But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a money grab right now for Tony. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get my money. It's on Prime. Another way to get my money, like what, and all this stuff. It's like I didn't do Prime. I just do the normal. I have Comcast right now, so I just do a regular pay
Oh,
per
got
view
you.
through them. It's easier. I never have any issues on there. It flows nicely. I don't. It's a yeah, because I heard some of the stuff with Triller had some issues on the show. Like they were having like it was going in and out, so that was like a problem for people. And then Prime probably would have had been a problem for people. And I'm like, I'm just gonna do the pay per view Comcast route, which is easier.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, buy $49.99. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, here we
Right.
go. But
It is
every
crazy,
show does not have to be 4 hours long. Not every show has to be
dude.
4 hours, man.
Especially on Sunday, man. I again, like, I'm spoiled now with the Saturday pay-per-views, PLEs, like it's so
Yeah.
great. And it's cool too, because like once the show ends, like, all right, cool, like I can watch like an after show, like depending on who's, like whoever, like whatever, like YouTube content creator you watch, like I like watching the after shows right after. Like I don't want to have to be like, oh damn, it's 12:30, almost 1 o'clock. Now I gotta
Right.
go like get ready for bed type thing, you know what I mean? Or potentially fall asleep before the main event. No matter how good the show itself is, you don't want to drain your fans out before the main event, regardless of if the main event is gonna kick ass or if it's gonna shit the bed, like
Yeah. Yeah.
they just really kind of shoot themselves in the foot sometimes. But yeah, man, I don't know if that just randomly popped into my brain, but I was excited because I like you said, like I was very hopeful HBO Max, because I don't have HBO Max right now, or HBO or Max, or I don't even know the difference between them. Like I don't have either. So I was looking forward to signing up and being able to access the pay-per-views going forward. And I think they do have like some back content now that you can watch, like the original Dynamites or the first
Yeah.
Dynamites that came out, and like maybe some of the
Yeah.
first year pay-per-views. So I
Most of
might
the
most of
yeah.
them.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
Which
cool.
is
And I
cool.
may I
Yeah.
may sign up for that, but like again, like I'm not gonna just sign up just for that too, because or maybe if I do, it'll only be like for a month or two. Because then like I'm gonna go through it, Like I may watch a few other things on Max, and I don't know, like I don't know, man. But they gotta get it together. But a couple people in the comments too had said something about it as well. Maddie said, I haven't had to buy a WWPLE for years. They've been free in Australia for ages, but AEW, I'm not paying when I can watch the highlights on their website. And that's true, man.
Yeah.
That's true. But even
And,
on their YouTube, you know what I mean? Like, because their website leaves a lot to be desired. But
and people have ways to get it. I'm not going to obviously say that, but there's people that have ways to get it where they don't have
wow,
to spend all
yeah.
that crazy cash to do all that. But
Quick
I want to
Google
bring up
search.
whenever before we go, I just wanted to bring up a few things to see what you thought
Yeah,
about a couple quick things.
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
With I wanted to hear what you thought about Megan Bain so far, because I in the retrospect, I like what they've done with her. They're making her feel like a dominant female on the roster, which is
Mm-hmm.
fine. But they had the stuff with Stat, like they had her interact with Stat, and then they just had a match the next week, which is stupid. Like, why are we just going to have a match the next week? That's just not good booking. That's bad booking. And then they have a interference with the Thunder Rosa crap with the chair, which was just absolutely freaking awful. Whoever thought of that, or whatever happened there, I don't know. I mean, it was a whole story behind that. I don't know. And then Bane's the one that attacks Tony on Dynamite last week, and I was like, Bane's, I don't think she's ready for a title match yet. We don't even know really who she is. Like, they've barely said anything about who she is, other than she's dominant, from the what she's done in the ring so far. I mean, she's been okay for what they've given her, I guess, but I hope they're not going straight to her against Tony. That doesn't make any sense. And Tony shouldn't lose the title right away. And it hurts Megan Bain if you're building her up to be a dominant heel, unless they're having Megan Bain win. And I guess I could be okay if they're going to tell me a story, but I don't feel confident they're going to tell me a story with Megan Bain. I don't feel like they will.
Man, I'm gonna be hopeful. I remember seeing Megan Bain. I went to like maybe two or three, maybe two of those AEW dark tapings at the Universal Studios when they were still doing that, like year or two ago. And I remember seeing her there, and I just remember thinking like, "Yo, this girl is a beast. She is just massive. Like you see her, and she's just not
Got
like,
a cool look.
yeah, she stands out, and it's just I get what you're saying, man, and part of me doesn't even want to give them like the benefit of the doubt on this one, but I will. I'm hopeful next week we hear from her, or at least have some type
They're having a
of
tag team match, right? I think it's just like a tag team match or
yeah,
something.
but
It's like,
maybe like a segment where she sat down this week with Renee and they air that prior, and then something
yeah,
going into the tag match, something like that. Like I don't need to hear like an 8-minute promo from her, but just maybe
right.
like 2 minutes with her and Renee sitting down. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the fans would ruin it because the fans just have to make it about themselves sometimes. So let her have a sit down backstage with Renee, or just be backstage. I don't know. Like sometimes I feel like just the visual of just standing backstage with Renee can kind of downplay a moment, but a sit down segment feels more important. You know, like it feels like okay, like this was scheduled, like they came in specifically to do this, like you know, like it just adds a different layer to it. So I hope they do, and or even if we hear like a sentence or two from her, and then Tony Storm shows up, you know, like walks into the frame, and then she cuts Megan Bayne off, you know, so we don't hear too much because maybe they wouldn't, maybe they're stealing from Camille, who doesn't exist anymore, and going with the route of the girl who never speaks, you know what I mean, and just trying to go with the notion that you know like her appearance and her dominance will speak for itself, and fair, okay, fine. And it is obvious what she's going for. She does want to be the champion, right? I mean, why else would you attack the champion? But I do think that you're still leaving a lot to be desired when you like the connection. Because like, okay, like so if she goes up against Tony Storm and you don't have her have some type of mission statement, some type of like this is why I attacked you, like, yeah, like I'm undefeated, blah blah blah, whatever she's gonna say, then why am I gonna care about her afterwards? Same thing with Harley Cameron. Like I was one of those like, man, just fuck it. Like pull the trigger, have her beat Mercedes, and even if Mercedes beats her within a month, like just do something different. Just do something crazy, you know? Just like
Yeah.
shake the pages. But they didn't. And what is Harley Cameron doing now? Like she's wearing a fucking mask. She's the
Oh
Harley
gosh,
Graham,
Harley
like
Graham.
whatever. Like
That was
I hope
so
that's temporary, but like
stupid, man.
dude, like no, like so I'm not gonna take her seriously anymore. So I don't know, like so that's why part of me is like, don't give them don't give them the benefit of the doubt. It's just not gonna end up being anything. But I don't know. I'm gonna see how next week plays out. If there's no package, no nothing, it's just a tag match, whatever. Then yeah, that's something I'll bitch about then. But I hope that they have something more planned, more in store for her, and something planned because if not, then you just rush this for no reason too. So I don't know, man. But the whole Camille disappearing act is just baffling to me. You have this huge, well, maybe not huge, but this pretty well known movie coming out with talent from another, you know, the biggest wrestling promotion out there included. Like, obviously, they're not going to promote that specifically, but you can say our female talent like stood up. You know, like you can include them like in the best, in the superstars of the world, right? Like our
Yeah.
talent like was able and privileged to not maybe not privileged, but our talent was able to be considered and took the spot of another of a superstar, right? And we have X, Y, and Z in the film, and Camille had a prominent role, and Camille
Mhm.
just didn't exist in the promotion for it, and it's baffling to me. It's just really baffling to me, and especially when you promote certain people from the movie, and then you just don't mention Camille at all. So
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal, but you had outside exposure, mainstream exposure from a movie, man. Not even just some like independent film, but an actual movie that was in box office. So the fact that they didn't capitalize on that is just baffling to me too. Talk about advertising and marketing from earlier. Like,
Yeah.
bro, like you, yes, and I get that they tied it into the Queen of the Ring and well, with Timeless Tony Storm and all that stuff. Like, I get that, but man, like they really could have just milked that. WWE, man, they will drill it into your brain where you will be dreaming about their ads for Queen of the Ring, you know, if they had an opportunity to.
Right.
So the fact
Yeah.
that AEW does it, like I that's where I would be like, you need to be like WWE in that regard. Take advantage of that. That's free publicity, dude. Like, I don't know. It's just baffling to me. But yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I just think, and then real quick, just with the women's division, real quick in AEW, that's what I've been kind of disliking a lot of what they've done too. And WWE has their own issues. Again, I'm not saying they don't
Yeah.
because they do, but
100%.
with like the Willow Penelope match, the match wasn't good. Willow just lost all momentum. Whatever she had is just
Doing that
absolutely
chair
gone.
shot.
That was, oh god, man, don't know. I'm not even gonna go
Terrible.
there. No, not even gonna go there. That was
Terrible.
just bad. So the women's division, like right now in Collision, they've got Top Flight and Hologram together. It's like it's just a random 6-man tag with a bunch of random people. Hologram, um, people are like, oh, the Hologram's cool. Like he's just a guy with a mask that is a good wrestler, a good worker in the ring. No
Yeah.
story being told at all. Just another guy. And with Harley, again, I'm with you. Like I think Harley has something there. Like Ash, she's just not ready in the ring yet. She's not ready to win a title. Like you saw the next week on the match she had was not it was not great. I
For
mean,
who?
it's
I'm sorry.
for Harley Cameron.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's not ready for that. I see what you're saying. Like
No,
it'd be fun to do something cool like that. She's not ready for a moment like that yet. Not that early. I mean, she's cool. Like she's got a lot of talent. Just the ring work has to keep up. And I don't think. And she was way too over. One of the collision interviews that she did in the ring, the one she did in the ring a couple weeks ago, was just way too over the top for me, man. Like I just that's too much for me. Like I mean, it's fine, it's funny, but it's like, yeah, I can't take you seriously as a main event challenger. I just I can't. I want to, but I mean, not that the TBS title is a main event because it's obviously not. Mercedes is trying her best to. I'm four belt Mercedes Moné. Woo, look at me, four belts. Like whatever.
it's
Like
just ridiculous.
all the belts mean nothing. So
Yeah, and but or if they were gonna do something daring, follow up and have the redemption story for Harley, right? And have her be like, "Damn, like I was so close, like I could taste it. It was the perfect setting.
right,
Not that I blew it, but like be okay with the defeat, but use that as motivation to get back to that position." And now she's just throwing a mask on, just having a good old time. So again, maybe it'll turn around within the next week or so. And this is just a temporary thing, but man, I
on
just
there. She's on Collision again right now. They just showed her in the back with her mask on. She's still
okay,
Harley
great.
Cameron.
So there's that. There's that. But Fernando, I agree with you, bro. He said earlier, well, backing up on it one more. He said, I think AEW should strap the rocket on her back and have her beat Timeless at Dynasty. But then he said Megan is the new Jade in WWE. She looks like a huge star.
Yeah,
And I do agree with you there, dude. I do like that comparison between her and Jade. I think she could be a monster, and kind of take that role, that dominant role that Jade had, and what they were doing with her. I just I don't know if I want to see Tony Storm lose the title this
not that
soon.
fast. Not that
Um,
fast. They'd have to build to that. Maybe if you do it,
yeah,
I don't like her losing twice in a row or twice 2 years in a row at All In. I guess, but it would make sense. At least you're gonna have Megan on a big stage do something dominant like that. Like I could at least see that, but not this
yeah,
soon. Not at Dynasty. No, no.
yeah. Yeah, but I think, and again, like that's why I wouldn't even have had Megan be the one to attack Timeless. I don't know why I keep wanting to say
Bingo.
Timeless Tony's the whole I can't just call her Tony Storm for some whatever reason. But I just wouldn't have had her be the one to attack Tony Storm to begin with. But again, I don't hate it, but I just, like we just said, I don't see her necessarily beating Tony Storm. And if she does, then I don't know, we'll see. But I
Sure.
don't know, man. Then they're gonna have to have a good build going into that too. She's gonna have to speak, or at least we're gonna have to like at least somehow figure out why she doesn't speak. You
Right.
know, to me, it's not that big of a deal. But if it continues on, and then it's just gonna be kind of like glaring. At least Camille's thing was like it was understood. Like she was the muscle for Nick Aldis. You know what I mean? Back in NWA, but
Mhm.
this, I don't know. I don't know, bro. But Duran had agreed with Fernando. So yeah, I can see that, and you might be right. Mega Bane is new Jake Cargill. So yeah, Fernando, I agree, man. But he said I don't want that stuff being drilled into me like WWE does. No, dude, no, I'm not saying be the next AEW or the next WWE rather when it
No.
comes to marketing, but at least make sure I know about it. Like, damn, like you could have like sprinkled it in like at least beginning ish of the show, like a little after 9, maybe 9:40 ish, throwing a reminder in there. Just do something, or and not even the same advertisement. Like have your different talent talk about it. Have some of your men talent talk about it. Like why don't men care about this video coming out? Like it's just I don't know. It's just very odd to me. Like just how they pick and choose what to promote and just the lack of promoting in general, man. Like I look, I don't know how much money it takes, but I mean we see them spend money on entrance themes. You know what I mean? So like why wouldn't you want to invest into something that you can actually get a return on? You know what I mean? Like monetarily. So again, like I don't
Yeah.
know the ins and outs of it. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I do because Tony Khan knows what he's doing with his money, and again, I've always been like the biggest fan of Tony Khan's in regards to putting his money where his mouth is when it comes to really embracing that moment. Like with Bryan Danielson's interesting, with when CM Punk was there, like having his old Ring of Honor theme and things like that, and like really licensing stuff and not being afraid to get the real music. You know what I mean? Like he's had Metallica and stuff like that. So he's not afraid to spend money, but I just wish he would invest a little bit, not even invest more money, because that's not my place to tell someone else what to do with their money, but invest just a little bit more attention into just putting the brand out there. Because I want more people to know about AEW. You know what I mean? Like when I'm at my part time, like we're talking about wrestling, like I bring up AEW because there's a couple people, there's like maybe 5 or 6 people who like wrestling there. A couple of them they know of AEW, but they could give 2 shits about AEW. Like, but I'll specifically bring it up, be like, "Yo, dude, like you gotta look out for Swerve, like Swerve, you know, like when he was really hitting when he was a champion, like yo, like they're doing something with Swerve, like they're just talking about whatever, man." But I can't sit there and put over Mox and Adam Copeland. Like I can't stand behind that. I can't put my name on that. You know what I mean? Like, so, but I do like Timeless Tony Storm. I fucking talk about her every chance I get. You know what I mean? So like, dude, like you got to check this out. Like, at least go to their YouTube page. You know, hoping like it'll get them like, all right, you know, like I was gonna watch Dynamite, but I have some free time this Wednesday. You know, let me turn it on to see when Tony Storm comes out or something, dude. Like I don't know, but that's just where I'm at. Like I don't sit here and talk shit just to talk shit. Like I do care.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I take my time. Because I take time after work. Like I get home late on Wednesday, and I still take time to watch Dynamite when I get home. Because
Me too.
I do want them to do well. I don't want them to fail. Not that they're gonna fail because they have a TV deal at least right now, so it wouldn't like they wouldn't fail just
they won't
instantly.
fail.
I mean, it would be over a long period of time, but they just there's
But
so
it's
many
almost worse if
characters.
you don't fail. Like really quick, like it's almost worse if you don't fail. Like if you are allowed to just continue in mediocrity, like it's almost better if you're allowed to fail. Because at least you can fail and then start fresh. You know, but if
Yeah.
you're just trudging along in bullshit and it's like no one's putting a stop to it, then it's like you're almost making it like it's almost better if like they would have had an off season, you know, like if it just I don't know why this came to mind, but like if you had like a break, you know, like if you're able to fail, like you have a break and you can start over. But if you don't have an end point, then you're just continuing in it because no one's like, why would you stop?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like I
Yeah.
don't know, man. I don't know, but again, I do think they're in a better position than they have been, at least even 6 months ago. You know, and I do think as a I'm gonna say as a whole, I hope they're on the right path, and I think having a focal point like an all in, that looks like it's gonna be the WrestleMania going forward. So having a direction, and again, like I said earlier, I love Osprey pointing that out, and I hope we get that more. I hope after this series, I hope Kenny Omega says, you know, when he retains his championship, I hope he says like I want to face. I hope he declares, you know, like he says I want to defend my championship. I want to like. I hope they end up merging the titles, but I hope he says like I want to defend my title on our biggest stage at All In. You know, so I hope that more and more talent continue to make the in game All In. You know, and really, oh Siri just I didn't. Why did Siri just pop up? But I hope they focus on that. And I've been one of those people too, you know. I maybe not as much recently, but I really wanted them to have a pay-per-view that they present as WrestleMania. And again, you don't have to I don't want them to go all out like, you know, not that was didn't even mean to be a pun there. Like be as extra and as extravagant as a WrestleMania, right? Like it takes time to get to that point. But just in the sense of like, what's your Super Bowl? If you don't even want to use WrestleMania as a comparison, what is your World Series? Like, what is your biggest stage of the year that your talent should be working towards and establish that? And I feel like that's what All In is now. So we'll just wrap up with your thoughts on All In.
Yeah, no, I think if they, I mean, All In should be obviously it is the WrestleMania, it should be the WrestleMania, and if they just, that's what I want. I just want them to build to a bunch of to whatever matches they have. Just build. Tell me a good, compelling story that gets me invested in these two people that are wrestling each other. I just want a good story. Not every story, at least the main matches. Like I mean, every story. Not every story is going to be fantastic. I mean, I'm not saying that because WWE, not every match is like, oh
Well,
gosh, there's a
dude,
compelling story. I
the
mean,
stuff they're doing with Jay right now, I'm getting bored to death with. I'm not gonna
yeah,
say bored to death. That's dramatic,
no,
but I think it's
Yeah,
stalling out. Like I talked about this morning, it's stalling out.
it is. And so, at least if you're going to do Omega, like if you're going to Omega Okada, which I'm assuming that's where they're going, merge the titles. Okay. Have Omega win, and right at the outset in these next 3 months, tell me a compelling story to build to that match and make it feel. Don't just tell me they had a bunch of
Mhm.
matches and show a bunch of matches from New Japan. I know they were great. I didn't really see all of them. I saw little bits and pieces of some of them, and they were probably fantastic. I know they were. But build to that match. Make it feel special. If you have Swerve and if you're gonna build Swerve and Mox to them, which I hope they don't, but if you do build to that, make it feel meaningful. Like Osprey, whoever he's gonna wrestle, if it is Mox or whoever, just those big 3, 4 matches. Whoever Tony's gonna face, just make them feel
Mhm.
important. Make them give me a story to believe in that I can invest my time to really care about who's gonna win these matches. And that's what I've wanted Tony to do the last 2 years, and he just hasn't done it other than Tony and Mariah. And with Mariah losing, which she should have done, I hope they build a good story with her. Like I'm worried that she's going to get lost in the shuffle. She's talented as all get out. I enjoy Mariah May a lot, but I'm
Yeah,
worried.
I don't know. I think with Mariah, I think what they should do with her is have her take some time off, a month, maybe 2 months, at least
Mhm.
a month. Well, I probably 2 months if for my little scenario. But I think when she comes back, I think she's gonna be cheered, man. I think this is gonna
That's gonna
be
be
one of
weird.
those situations where the fans really gain like a level of respect for her type thing, and they're like they're gonna just adapt and or adopt her rather and be like, nah, like we love her now, like we want to go forward with her. So I'm wondering too if we don't get Athena ever, if Athena ever ends up existing outside of the ROH world,
We
because
get
it's
Billy
it's so
Starks
crazy.
before Athena.
Dude, you're right. And dude, like I don't. I thought about this earlier, and I thought about it, and then I thought about it earlier in the day, and then I forgot prior to the stream. But I don't know how to say this without sounding like a complete judgmental bitch. So I'm going to say less than what I thought, but I will just say that was just not a good look. Not a good look. Her presentation with Mercedes backstage, like
No,
it was just not a good look. I don't
no.
know. I just don't know. I'm just gonna
I
leave it at that. The
I
whole thing was just not a good
I
look,
appreciate
bro.
you from a woman's perspective. I don't know enough to say, but I could see where you're coming from though. I could see it.
I look,
I could see that.
and look, I'm not Miss Fashionista. I am not Miss. I girl probably has more money than me, and I'm happy for her. It's nothing to do with that. I'm just going to say it was just not a good look, and because I don't want to be mean. And again, like trust me, I yesterday I went to the convenience store looking like trash. Okay, so I am that girl out there looking like a hot mess. So I just had the luxury of not being in front of the camera, in front of I don't want to say millions, but thousands and thousands of people.
Right.
But that was not
It
a
could
good
have been
start
millions.
for the feud. Yeah, eventually after the 7 days, it was just not a good look, man. I would just say that, and I would just say it was not a good start for her feud with Mercedes. But I do hope that this ends up weaving its way back to Athena. It's bonkers to me that Athena doesn't exist on Dynamite, but Chris Jericho, the Ring of Honor champion, does. Again, it's not as bad as it used to, so I'm not gonna act like it is or whatever. But I just don't understand the difference, dude. I don't. And again, like it's not even like I'm sitting here advocating for more titles to be present on TV. And it's so funny to me. Like the issue that I have with the whole heavyweight championship being in a briefcase is because you literally have like 85% of the talent being on TV having a championship of some sort, and then the main guy has a briefcase. And it's like, bro, like what? Like optically, like if you're tuning in, it's like oh, so he like you would if you don't see his name flash up at the bottom like John Moxley world champion or like hear it on the commentator, like you may not know if you aren't an
Right.
average, like a one of those like diehard viewers or someone who watches weekly. You know what I mean? So it's just the optics sometimes are just not great. Just not great. But Fernando says that it is going to be all in Mercedes versus Athena. So I am hoping, man. And again, it makes sense. Athena, her hometown is well, her home state is Texas. And props to Tony Khan. He normally does do right when it's someone's hometown, home city, state, whatever it is. If they're from there, if they have history there, he normally does what he can or does what he can to promote that and to really give them a moment. So I sometimes I think almost to the detriment, right? With the whole like I don't know why it popped in my head, but Soraya winning at All In, like it was just because, in my opinion, it was just because it was in her hometown. Like storyline wise, it did nothing. She ended up losing it shortly thereafter. But this one I think is going to be different, and seeing Billy Starks at least does plant the seeds and at least get this ball in motion. So I'm hoping that's at least where it ends up at. But man, I don't know. I don't know. And then Duran says, same Chris Jericho on AEW more than Athena. Give her some camera time or something, Tony Khan. um, and then Fernando said earlier too, which I wanted to read fully. I watch both companies, but I prefer AEW because I care more about the inside the ring part of wrestling than the outside stuff. And that's why I'm happy you're here, Fernando. And that's why I love doing shit like this, because I'm not even gonna say I prefer WWE more than AEW or vice versa. I just prefer certain stories. Like I don't know. Like I was thinking about this the other day. Like I'm not even like a big favorites person. You know, like I like
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
like. Um, now when I did have I actually did have the situation where I had to choose going to a WWE show or an AEW show because they were both here in Orlando. I did go to AEW. It was the World's End pay per view, so biasy there. But I did go to AEW, so I don't know what that says. Maybe I don't know. Like AEW will always hold like a special place in my heart too because we've been there from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like I was there for the
yeah.
first Dynamite show, like and when
That was
the
cool.
DC one. So
Yeah,
man, like you feel like you're invested. You know, like you feel like you're emotionally invested in this company. So
yeah.
yeah, man.
I Yeah, do I pick favorites? No. Like, do I enjoy WWE more than I enjoy AEW. I enjoy WWE more. The stuff with WWE, do they do everything perfect? Their company has issues. I'm not denying any of that. I'm not saying WWE is a
Hmm.
perfect company because they are far freaking from it. Don't let me say anything different because they are not. As far as the product they put on TV, their product and AEW's product, I'm taking WWE's product. It's better. It's they tell better stories with people. I'm more invested in stories with people. I could see great matches anywhere out there. Any promotion has good wrestling. I enjoy good wrestling, but I want to be invested in a match. I don't want to just be like, here's two guys, put them in a match, put them together, and have a great match. Like that's fine, but that's not what I enjoy the most. And WWE tells the Drew and Priest stuff. It's fantastic, man. That is a fun story, man. Like it's not the biggest match on WrestleMania, but it's got a story for a long time that you can invest in. And you have a guy you don't like against a guy that's a cool guy that you like, that you want to see him win. Now, will he win? No, he probably
Yeah,
won't.
right,
But it's
right.
fine though, because I want to hate Drew because he's so annoying, but in a fun way that makes me want to hate this guy. But he tells a good story. Like it's a fun story to invest yourself in. With the
Hmm.
bloodline, with the Cena Cody, which is gonna now granted, just say real quick, Cena and Cody, I think is gonna be very compelling. I think it's gonna be awesome television. But I'm not 100%
Yeah.
sure. I hope it is, but they at least invest me in stories that I can sink my teeth into and at least extract stuff out of it. Where AW just focuses on the wrestling part, and that's in the in ring stuff. And again, Fernando, dude, that's cool. If you like that, I'm all for that, and I don't dislike the wrestling part. I just like we like differ as far as what we enjoy more as a product, and that's okay.
Hmm.
That's fine.
Yeah, dude. And if this was what, how 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, if he would have said
Maybe
that, I
AEW.
without even thinking, it would have been AEW 100%. But now I feel like just the whole wrestling landscape has completely changed in the past 2 to 3 years, where we just have so much good wrestling like everywhere. You know what I mean? Not even just on TV or streaming, just everywhere. You know, like
Right.
I open Twitter and I see clips or I'll see YouTube like links of just good matches from like a random independent thing. You know what I mean? So there's just so much goodness everywhere. Like that's why I'm like, damn, like, well, what was my favorite match this week? You know what I mean? Like you can it's just there's just so much to keep track of but and to keep tabs of. But man, like I don't know. Like I hesitate to say I prefer one or the other right now, just because I enjoy a good amount from both. And I don't know, like just like I go into Monday night and Friday night looking forward to watch SmackDown and Raw, I go into Wednesday night looking forward to watch Dynamite. I'm not like, oh damn, it's Dynamite tonight and not Raw, or vice versa, you know. But I totally
Yeah.
get Fernando,
Yeah.
like not like maybe just not even like being able to put up with the WWE bullshit and like just the fluff of WWE and how extra WWE is. You just want to get to the match, man. Just want to get to the brass tacks of it. Just give me what I'm here for. Just give me the match. And I can respect that, man, because some nights, some nights, especially if it's on like it's on the DVR and I'm out watching live or whatever,
Mhm.
and it's SmackDown, especially being on 3 hours lately, I'm like, dude, like I gotta fast forward through some of this shit. Like I can't, I just can't. You know what I mean? So I totally get that. Totally get that. Um, but yeah, Maddie, I did see this bald spot is gone. I saw that recently. It popped up. Speaking of Twitter. But
Oh
he
man.
said also, he said, dude, at 38 years old, I watch WWE and it takes your mind off of any bullshit and you enjoy it. Exactly, dude. And the same thing with AEW, man. Same thing with AEW too. But WWE they're just ingrained in you more. As they've been here, you know. But Fred said that y'all got good chemistry with this podcast. Not gonna lie, so I appreciate that, Fred.
Thank you,
Fred
Fred.
Bucks, appreciate that,
Thanks,
my
man.
friend. But Rewind 89, you were in here earlier. I threw one of your comments up, but hey, man, I appreciate you for popping in. You said it's a good time to be a wrestling fan. Whatever you're into, whatever you want, it's out there right now.
Amen to that.
And I think that is a great way to wrap her up here in this fine evening, fans. And oh, I was about to say, I think one more popped up. Maddie said, I do want AEW to do better and loving TNA too. And yes, like I was saying, just like I was saying with so much wrestling out there, like TNA, man. TNA has been kicking ass out there too.
Yeah,
And
they have.
they I really learned a lot going to those two TNA shows back to back. And I'll just say I gained like a new level of like respect for their talent too. It just seeing how much they really do feed off of the fans and really interact with the fans. Like I don't know, it was just a different vibe too. It was kind of like a little mini WWE in a sense, but they had their own twist on production and stuff. So it was cool. It was cool, and I'm just happy TNA is getting the exposure and WWE is doing right by them and not just trying to like buy the company out to get rid of them or just like shitting on them or anything like that. Like they actually have a
Right.
partnership, you know, and they're not just giving them like talent that you've never heard of, you know, like they're actually
Right.
influxing more talent and showcasing like who would have thought the Hardy Boys would be on NXT? You know what I mean? Representing TNA. You know, it's just a crazy world that we live in, Sean. My dog is here now. But
Yeah. Oh.
yes, it is indeed. She's walking away now. But any final words from you, Sean? Any final farewells
Well, I'd say
or
thanks to
any
everyone in the chat for hanging out with us for this. It's been almost probably an hour and a half. It's been a while, but it's been great. I mean, I found Ashley, like I said, on Wade Keller's show with PW Torch, and I just love the way you love wrestling and just the way you enjoy talking about it. And we get to sit here and talk for another 3 hours easily, but we have lives, we have things we got to do other than just this.
facts?
But it's just fun to chat, and hopefully, I'm praying, if it's possible, then maybe I can be on around Mania time. That would be great. If not, I get it.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
life. Life happens. But man, that would be fun because I got to do it last year and that was a blast. And so
We'll
maybe
figure
that could
something
be a
out, man.
yearly thing. Maybe, who knows? You never know. It's
Yes.
possible. But thank you for having me on. It's always fun talking wrestling with you.
No, dude, I appreciate you jumping on and being so flexible because I was out and about earlier and I didn't know what time. And so I texted him. I was like, yo, what about this time? And you made it happen. So I appreciate you, man. And I appreciate everyone in the chat. You guys make it fun. You know, you guys keep it going. And you know, people who watch on replay as well. But I appreciate everyone who makes it a point to pop in while we're sitting here live. It makes it fun. You know, like I said, it's just really cool to hear people's live reaction to some of my like off the wall thoughts, you know, and like I don't sit here, I don't know everything. I don't know a lot of shit, you know what I mean? Like that's why
Right.
I've said before, like I just sit here and just talk my own stuff, you know what I mean? I just kind of use this as like a little, well, now visual, but before it was just like a little audio diary of just wrestling because it's fun to go back. Like, Wade does like those 5 years ago shows, and it's just crazy to think and like, man, like 5 years ago, and like now it's like the pandemic time frame, which is just, it's
Yes.
just so crazy.
Don't go
It's
back and check
crazy.
the because for me, I probably won't listen to those only because the wrestling stuff was cool to feel the what they were doing with the no crowds and things.
Yeah.
But it was just like I don't want to think about that time. I just that was a bad time. Now
Ooh,
I have
yeah.
my thoughts about it now, but at the time we didn't know what was going on. It was crazy, and it's just I don't want to go back to that again. Like I'd rather just things are good now. Are they perfect? No, but they're better than they were then. So I'd rather
Yeah.
just not think about that. But it's cool he does the 5 years ago shows. And I'm on there, guys. If
Hmm.
you ever want to check me out, I'm usually on his post shows too, talking wrestling. So if you ever he's on YouTube now, so it's fun
He
to be able
is.
to have that platform.
PW Torch, not that they need a plug, right? But it's PW Torch. You can search on YouTube, right? Like we were chatting before. We listened. Well, he being Sean Plicta, does some audio sometimes with Pro Wrestling.net. Jason Powell as well. He's not over on the YouTube channel platform area, but I don't even know what he's doing lately with his like call-in shows. Like I know like the things
He
not
just
working
he
anymore,
did
so
he's
it
just
was like a
doing
recording
just a
or
recording, yeah.
something.
Just
Yeah,
he'll still do it on the boom, but it's just a separate
yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
Gotcha. But yeah, Wade is live every Monday, Wednesday, and third or Friday. I don't know why I'm sitting here plugging for him, but yeah, Wade's dope.
That's my
Yeah.
fault.
So,
That's my fault.
but no, like Wade is good people. I love when he. I don't know, man. That's why, like we were talking briefly. I like when he has someone on there that'll like not push back on him, but like that has differing opinions for him, or like Eric Kroll, for instance, like that dude Eric
Yes.
Kroll. Like
I
I
love it,
just
Eric
love their
Carlson.
dynamic. It's just so entertaining. It's just so entertaining. But yeah, man. So with all that being said, thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you to everyone who is watching our replay. I should say this, but if you would feel ever so inclined, go ahead and like the stream, or you can dislike. But let me know why, because I just like to know why. And if you would like to subscribe, feel free. If not, that's cool too. But I appreciate you guys checking it out. We will figure out something regarding WrestleMania and see if we can get another certain someone on here to do maybe a three-way. Sounds kind of weird, but we will see.
Not that
We will
way. Not
see.
that way.
Not
Not
that way.
that way,
Not
people.
that way. But yes, guys, thank you all so much. We have to wrap up here because if not, like I said, we will talk forever. But thank you everyone in the chat. I appreciate you guys. And until next time, everyone, stay safe and enjoy some wrestling out there. Take care.